Okay, so I want to talk about how I went about making this stock. The awkwardest thing to do when you're making something like this, I've found, is this channel here that accepts the barrel. To make it round like that, it's quite difficult. I mean, if you had a lot of fancy power tools, it might not be too bad, but to get a channel in a piece of wood like that is quite difficult. And I found the easiest way to do it is to first of all get your piece of wood and drill a hole in it. Just get a long drill a hole straight through the length you want there. Obviously you've got to judge what it's going to be, and then after cut the top off so you get that. So you drill a hole in there, you drill a hole down there, then once you drill the hole off, you cut this back along the top here. So you've got to make sure that when you're drilling the hole in, you can see where the material you're going to take off the top, because that is quite difficult, and then gauge the length of your barrel that's going to be in there as well. So that's what I did with that. I drilled the hole first and then cut this piece off at the top here afterwards. It leaves you with the half round like that. So what I'll do first of all is we'll put the barrel in. Now I've drilled hole here, which is the where the powder goes through, and there's a little tang welded on the bottom of the barrel, and that tang fits into this slot here. And then there's a hole that goes that way, which you put a pin in, and it secures the barrel into position. So I'm trying to do this and look to the camera at the same time, so I hope it's coming through. So that fits in there, that fits onto there, and then snaps into position like that. Like this bit at the back, this tang at the back, put a screw in there, and that just secures the rear of the barrel. Now that's in position now, so all I need to do is to put this pin in. Like that. And the barrel is now secured in position, it's locked in. And then we just put the screw in the back. Just lost my screw if that goes in the back. Oh, that's it there. Just checking as I'm seeing through the... You getting this? Okay, so that's the barrel in. Now the next part to put it is the trigger mechanism. Now this trigger mechanism, there's like a little cam on there. See that cam? And that cam pushes on that. So when you pull your trigger back, what happens is it's got jammed. Is it? No. Like that. When you pull that trigger back, that there is pulled back by that cam, because it's like that. And as you pull the trigger, that little cam pushes on that little bubble there, little pin, pushes it back, and then that releases your spring. So to make this and get that into the right position for the sear, It's really, really awkward because you can't see what you're doing. You put that inside of there, you put in this trigger mechanism, and you can't see what you're doing. So it is a bit of hit and miss. I do it several times. Now this has got the trigger. It's in two pieces. This is where, I don't know how it was done back in the day, but this is the way I've done it. This is like a little support for the trigger. Now there's a hole drilled in there, and that holds that, but it doesn't turn. This is held in position, and the trigger rotates like that. So this piece of wood here, this kind of hole in the stock, is only holding that, and then it's screwed in by two screws in there. Then the trigger works in that fashion. So you've got to put that in there. Got to offer that into that hole like that. So that's the operation of the trigger. And obviously this needs to be sprung loaded so it returns back every time. So this is the spring I've made that returns that trigger mechanism. You wouldn't believe how long it took me to kind of design this. It's crazy. It took me hours and hours and hours. I kept making different types of springs and all sorts, and I couldn't quite get it right. And I ended up making this, and it's made, would you believe, out of an old hacksaw blade. It's made from one of these. Utilising the hole in the end, taking all the, obviously the teeth off it and polishing it up, and then heating it up with the MAP gas, bending it to shape, and then re-tempering it. And this is best I could come up with, and it works well because these are very, very springy. These hacksaw blades, they make really good springs. So that's what this is made out of. Now that fits in like that. I'm all fingers and thumbs, it's a bit cold in here today. Dropped it. Another one. I just dropped my screw on the floor. It's really cold in here. I'm a little bit stiff. Okay, so that's the trigger mechanism in position and on the spring. A consideration when if you're making a wheel lock or a flint lock is the length from the pan, which is here, on your barrel, because if you want to put a rod in there, if you want to put a rod in, then you've got to have enough distance for this rod to come through here before it gets past the end of the barrel. And I've made 2 of these and I've made the same mistake both times, is that the lock mechanism is a little bit too far this way, because by that hole, by the time it gets through there, it's interfering with this. Just go. This is what I mean. So this was the dowel that goes inside of there. That needs to be that long. It needs to be that long, so as the your rod goes right down to the touch hole, so you can press the ball in. Now by the time you put that in there, it's getting into the mechanism at this side, so you have to kind of work out where this mechanism is, because when that rod goes in there now, it starts to foul on there, on the back of that support for the crankshaft. So it's a bit hit and miss. You have to keep just kind of trying it. This is just about in the right position. I could have done with it being all this. Could have done with it being another ½ an inch, if you could get out of it, another ½ an inch further back. But then that affects everything else, so it's not quite as easy as that.